Welcome to the Get It Done podcast, the podcast where I talk to business owners about their business, allowing them to share their business, their journey. The reasoning for the podcast is I get to talk to a lot of people, um, and somehow the conversation leads to business because I just love talking about business. But throughout that conversation, most people have goals, have dreams, even have amazing ideas for businesses, but they're not doing it. And they're not doing it because it just boils down to them just being scared. So the goal here for this podcast is to uproot and destroy the spirit of fear out of anybody that is listening to this podcast, that is watching this podcast. Um, as far as the guests go, I'm basically talking to strangers. I believe this is episode 55. I think it's 55. But out of 55 episodes, I have talked to 3 people that I know out of the entire group of business owners. But I'm having a lot of fun. But the goal is basically to talk to people that I don't know and hear their story, hear their experience. And I just think that the conversation causes for, I guess, more interesting, more fun times. So the guest is, I'll go ahead and add guest to the podcast. Hi, Kelly.
How are
How
you?
I'm really good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. Excited to be here and chat with you today.
Thank you for being here. I'll just let you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about your business.
Sure. My name is Kelly Lonher. I am the co-founder of Social Sync Collective. We are a female-led software company. We focus on the direct selling industry. So we have a one-stop shop platform that allows female entrepreneurs to run their businesses successfully through one place versus having to go all of the different places. We love to say that you can ditch your pocketbook of passwords. You don't need to do that anymore. You don't need to worry about logging into all the different platforms. And we're pretty proud of the fact too that we're female led. I think in the tech industry, I know in the tech industry that it's predominantly men who run a lot of the tech related companies. So there's 3 of us that run the company together, and all 3 of us are females. So that is really quickly about what we do.
I love that. So, how'd you guys get started? How'd you guys meet each other? Like, how'd this all come to play?
Well, that is such an awesome question, and I love the trajectory that we've been on from the very beginning. So one of the 3 of us, she had this vision a few years ago. So she was in a direct selling company. She understood like her business was growing. She didn't have the systems. She didn't have the processes. She was overwhelmed. She was dropping balls, and she kept saying like, there has to be something better for me. There has to be something better. She started getting platforms, but again, she was going all of the different ways, all of the different directions to the different platforms. And she realized that she needed something better. So she started digging and she started playing around with different options. And she eventually created a platform that allowed her to do it all through one place. So she is someone that I personally know. So when she started talking about doing this, me as a tech savvy person, I was very, very intrigued and I wanted to know more. So I actually started as a user. I got involved. She created the
Nice.
CRM. I started as a user, and pretty quickly I was like, dang, I love this and I need this and I need to tell everybody about it. So I kind of wiggled my way in, and they were very appreciative of this, but I wiggled my way in and was like, "Can I send you guys my resume? I have so much experience in the tech industry. I was working for a software company at that point in time. I had done sales, I had done training, I had kind of done all of the things that I felt like could have been a very impactful thing for them to take on. So essentially, I felt like I was the missing link for what they needed at this point in time. So we had the visionary and we had the brains of the operation, but we didn't really have a middle person who could actually kind of translate to the field how the system could help them. So I transitioned from user to employee. And fell in love with the community, fell in love with the program even more, fell in love with the visionary even more. Just everything kind of just fell into line so beautifully. And then I wiggled my way a little bit more. I continued to wiggle, and I wiggled my way into becoming an owner. So, I think I started in April of 2020. Oh gosh, 2022, using the platform. And then in July of that same year is when I started working for the company. And then in October of 2023 is when I took a third ownership. What's ironic, though, about all of this is our third co-founder or co-owner did the exact same thing as me. So she started as a user as well. She fell in love. She wiggled her way into being an employee. I took a very short maternity leave. She filled in for me while I was off. When I came back, we both stuck around and then eventually wiggled our way into ownership. So I think we have this really neat history because not only are we selling this platform to female business owners, but we've come from the place of using it first and understanding the power behind it to then move into an employee, to then move into now an owner. So we really have seen all of the moving parts of our company, and we've been able to really perfect the different departments, if you will, and making sure we are the best possible solution for people because we've seen it from all of the different ends because of our history with the movement from user to now owner. So we did a lot of wiggling.
I love that. What is your favorite part of the system? Like, what is the one thing that you're like, oh, I love it.
Oh gosh, that is so hard. So we always say that we essentially incorporate 17 different platforms and features into our system. So that is a very hard question. But in every single call, I feel like I always get the most excited when because I do all the we have a webinar. So I do the webinars, I do all the speaking about the platform, and I can feel I get the most excited about one thing the most. I'm excited about all of it, but one thing the most. And what that part would be is contact management. And I know most people would be like, oh, that's so boring. And I'm like, it's not. Wait, I'll tell you why. So typically business owners, when they are collecting contact information, they're getting their first name, their last name, their phone, their email, mailing address, maybe. And that's kind of it. So then what's happening is when people are doing email marketing, they're marketing to everyone. What is the saying? If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one or something like that. So I talk a lot about that because there's certain people that, let's say, for example, you have a product that helps people lose weight. You may have people on your mailing list who are extremely underweight, and it's very triggering for them to hear things like that. So in our contact area, our contact management feature allows you to really capture more information on people. What are their hobbies? What types of products do they need? What things do they hate in life? What things do they love? What's their dog's name? When's their birthday? Like, we can collect more information. And then what we teach on is how to market better. Not marketing to all, but marketing better, especially because a lot of our users are product-based companies. So they need to speak to the right people if they want to make sales. They can't talk to everybody. And if they do, guess what happens? They're getting unsubscribes. They're getting people saying, what you're talking about is irrelevant to me. Because yes, it is. It is irrelevant because you're talking to the wrong people about the wrong things. You need to drill down more on the topics and the things that interest those people. So I love the contact area for the reason of it allows you to just market better to your audience.
I love that. Any advice to people going into business doing partnerships?
Oh gosh, that one's hard. That one is hard because for two of the three of us, we'd never done a partnership before. So when we came in, we really didn't know what we were doing. But to be honest, we really didn't know. And a lot of that was not around what to do front facing for our customers business wise. It was behind the scenes stuff, what to do. We did learn really quickly though, the things that we wanted to implement. So for example, we got very clear on each person's responsibilities. So we created a spreadsheet. We each went in there. We put in what we felt like were our responsibilities. We then reviewed it together. We reviewed kind of the time commitment that each took to make sure one of us wasn't predominantly heavy workload, whereas the others were like, cool, I'm twiddling my thumbs most of the time. So we got very clear on our roles and responsibilities each, which I think was so impactful, and it really allowed us to be able to then just go and get to work and do the things. We also were very clear with each other that we needed a contract. To me, that was a no-brainer. We needed something in writing as far as like, this is how we are all going to be and act in our commitments and our roles. And we felt like that was really important. We trust each other. We love each other, but ultimately business can be business in the sense of like, you never know. So getting very clear and transparent on our roles and responsibilities, as well as getting the contract completed, to me, those were the best things possible. And we've really preached with each other open communication. And as women, that can be hard. Like
Yes.
that can be hard to speak your mind. If it's kind, it shouldn't be hard. Sometimes constructive criticism, blah, blah, constructive criticism is great. And I've gotten one recently that I'm like, bang on. I need to get better at that. And I talk a lot, which is why I'm on a podcast, because I love talking. That's something I've taken into consideration. So I think we've done really, really well with having that open communication as well.
Nice. What would you say would be the hardest thing about being in partnership?
Luckily, the three of us work so well together. I'm never concerned about what I'm going to say, but I think coming into it, this was my concern. Again, not like I trust these girls, I love them, I know they're doing an amazing job, but I think when you work remotely, so essentially the three of us I'm in Canada, my two co-founders, one is on the West Coast, one is on the East Coast, so we are like as
everybody's spread apart.
Yeah, we are away. That we did in the contract, we did say there had to be a certain time commitment every week. So we wanted it to be essentially a full-time business with part-time hours because we have staff. So we had committed to a certain number of hours every single week. And because we work remotely, like I could I don't have a beach close by, but I could go to the beach and not be working. So the fact that we do heavily trust each other is so important. But I think coming into it was the nervousness around being remote and not really knowing what each other were up to. But again, we've done really well. We do lots of touch points. We still do, I believe we're at 3 touch points a week. And that sounds like a lot, but most of them are just short, quick, sweet. And then we have one longer one. But I think those touch points have helped us really collaborate better because again, we're getting to really know how each other work better. We're able to check in on each other, see if anyone needs any help. So yeah, those touch points have been really critical in kind of helping us feel comfort with the fact that we're remote, and that's our kind of checkpoint to make sure everybody's on the same page.
I love that. So was it your idea? Did you have a desire to go into business before all of this, or it was just like, this just happened?
That is, oh gosh, that is such a loaded question because I've always been very business oriented. But when I started using the platform, I wasn't like, I'm going to wiggle my way into employee and then wiggle into owner. Like I never, ever had that thought. But as kind of things continue to evolve, I started as user and was like, I want to help other people. So then I became an employee and then I was like, this is amazing. I want to help more people. So for me, I've always been very business oriented. I never came in with this idea that I wanted to run my own software company because there's just so many moving parts. Software can be very interesting in the aspect of it can be glitchy. It's software. It's something that we have control over, but we don't have control over. So I was a little bit nervous about that part, but we have such a great team that now I feel eased with the like, okay, ownership can be scary, especially when it's tech related, but I have such a good team backing me that I'm so confident and happy in where we're at now. So as things unfolded, yes, the business side just made so much sense and I was so thrilled, but in April of, what did I say, 2022, that was not the vision at all.
That wasn't the goal.
No, not at all.
You just kind of grew into this space, which is awesome.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of with the business since you've been a part of it?
That one is easy. So when I started as the user, there was someone who owned the platform previous to the three of us really taking over. And I don't remember the exact dates, but like, let's say middle of October, we took ownership. And by like middle of November, we had revamped the entire thing. And what I love about this is we literally, the three of us that are now co-owners together, we are all very much go-getters. You give us a task, you tell us what needs done, or we decide we want to do something and it's happening like right away. That might also be a bad thing because two of us are very type A. So it's like, it has to be done quick and good and effective and I can't sleep and I need to go. But we took ownership and we revamped everything and we were like, this is getting done. This is getting done well. And we are committed and we are going. There were days we'd be on Zoom and I don't recommend this, but we'd be on Zoom until like midnight getting things done to make sure that we were transitioning our users properly and that everything was good. So we rebranded, we redid a few things. We had to transition users over to a couple different things. I'm not going to go into that, but essentially, yeah, we were like, you tell us we need to do something, or if we need to do something, we're going to make it happen, and we're doing it right away. So the taking over the full ownership was such a huge accomplishment for us.
Nice. So was it fun? I mean, I know it's a lot of work, but like stuff like that for me is like really fun. I'm excited about it.
You want to know about the one part that for me was a little bit more challenging? I loved it. I'm not discrediting that, but I had a baby in July and we were doing this in like October, November. So I was getting limited sleep as it was. So yeah, so it was a little bit on the like challenging side, but in
Yeah.
things challenge us and make us stronger. So it was
Yeah.
great. We got through it, and we're at such a good place now because of those actions we took in October, November.
People that have babies, women that have babies, mothers, I think they can do just anything. Like when I'm talking to my friends and I'm like, we're talking about, I don't know, a challenging situation. I'm like, girl, please, you had a baby. Like you can do anything.
So true. So true. I didn't realize it until I was in the situation at like, it's survival in a way, but in another way, you're like, man, if I can do this, I can do anything. So yeah.
Seriously, like you're like sleep deprived, your body is just doing all these crazy things, your hormones are in one place and then in another, and then you still have to focus on real life. Like what?
Yeah, it was a
So
thing.
you guys can do anything.
I love hearing that, because many days as moms, we feel like we're not doing the best job we feel like we should be doing, but we really are. It's a lot. And I consider myself a stay-at-home mom, but I consider myself, what did I call myself the other day? A stay-at-home working mom, because I work remotely, but I still have to take care of the baby and the house and do the meetings and do all the things. So it's a lot of
Yes.
work.
Yes. You have 4 jobs.
Yeah.
Quite a few. What are you grateful for today?
Oh gosh, I love, these are good questions, girl. Like these are so like
Thank
they're,
you.
they're loaded, but they're so good. So I always said that when I had children, I wanted them to be raised by me. I always struggled with the idea of sending them to daycare. I like daycare
Me
for
too.
socialization, but I wanted them to be home with me. I've worked remotely since 2014. So I've worked remotely for 10 years before it was like a thing. Um, but my jobs that I had previously, I couldn't have been home with a kid. I couldn't have worked 40 hours a week and had him at home with me. That just wasn't realistic. So I would say one of the things I'm most grateful for right now is the fact that I can be at home with him while still getting the chance to work a little bit and kind of get my alone break time. But not having to send him to daycare. I send him now a little bit just to get him socialized and have fun. But he's at home with me, which this business has allowed me to do that. And for me, that I couldn't ask for anything better than that.
I love that. I always say that when I do have kids, I don't want my kids at daycare. I don't even want my kids at school. Like I want to
Amen.
homeschool my kids. And
Amen.
I have a whole plan. I figured it out. I'm like, okay, I'll just get a nanny. I'm going to be working from home, whatever I'm doing. She'll just be here with me. I'll be able to watch the nanny as well. And then like when the kid needs playtime, we're just going to join like different groups and stuff. But we don't need to go to school. We're going to homeschool.
I have a nanny. I have a good lady come in.
Period.
Yeah. I have
Yes.
2 days, and then I take him to daycare 1 day a week. And it gives me still a couple days with him, but it gets him socialized. And so when she's here, he's still in his house, his crib. They're still around. I can still go see him. Like, yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. I love that. I love that for you. Do you want more kids?
I do. Yes.
Nice. How
Yes.
many
So
more?
oh gosh, I'm getting old. So I don't know. Well, I guess that's not fair. I'm getting older. I one more, but I'm like, the clock is also ticking. So there's that whole situation. So one more, I would say, but juggling one is a lot of work. So I don't know how women do two, but I've also heard women say two, what is it? Two gets easier or two doesn't get harder. One of the two, but I'm like, I don't know if I believe that yet. I'm not there.
Well, at least they'll have each other to like play with and I don't know, keep company and all that.
That's so true.
I love that. So how old is the baby? About 2?
he's just little still. So he was 11 months a few days ago. So he's
Oh,
just like a little guy still. Yeah. And so
almost one.
almost one. So we live on a farm. So he, at least in the summer, is
Nice.
able to get outside and be busy. And we have cows and tons of open space. And so he spends a ton of time outside, which is also good for me because if I have to catch up on any emails or anything, I can take him outside and he just plays and crawls around and does his thing and I can do my emails. So I try really hard to, I'm not good at it right now. I'm not going to lie because things are busy, but I try really hard that when I do have him, that I'm not spending too much time on my device. But when you run a business, you're also always kind of on. So that's been a
Yes.
hard one for me to kind of balance, and I need to get better at that. But really, in life, we're always going to have things we need to improve at. And right now, I would say that's my one thing is the device needs to go away.
Nice. So in about, if he's one now, maybe in about 25 years from now, what would you tell him about this season of life?
Oh boy, in 25 years, that sounds terrifying, doesn't it? Um, I think the thing that I'm the most excited for him in 25 years, so he would be, yeah, like 26 years old, is looking back on his childhood and knowing that he had those fun moments. Like my childhood was great. I was so blessed with a wonderful childhood. But I think for him growing up on a farm, it's just different. Like,
It's
you
different.
know, yeah, it's slow, it's fun. It's yes, we have sad days because we have animals and things can happen, but it's such a different vibe. So I really hope in, yeah, like 25 years he can look back and be so grateful at the fact that he got to live the life of, well, really the dream life, I think, of what a lot of kids would say, like, I want to live on a farm. I want to pet animals. Like that's his life. That's what he gets to do every day. So I hope that he looks back and really loves and appreciates that.
I love that. Um, have you had or heard any advice lately? Good advice.
Good advice lately. I think my biggest one that I've really worked hard on lately is, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but I think this is very much who I am, is being a leader and not a follower. Um, I feel like when okay, so let's back up. So when I was younger, I never gave in to peer pressure. I was the opposite. I was the person who's like, if you're telling me to do that, I'm not doing that now. That was kind of my mentality. And I think that's always kind of proven to help in leadership roles. So growing up, I played competitive sports as well. And I was typically someone who liked to voice opinions and I was captain. And I felt like I had leadership skills from a very young age. And I think that that's why this sense of being a follower has never kind of been my vibe because that's never how I was even when I was a child. So I've
It
just
doesn't feel good.
no,
Or I
not
imagine it not to fit, like to just do what people tell you to do. Well, so in my mind, that's how I felt when I was at work doing a 9 to 5. Like it just doesn't feel good. The fact that I have to call you and say, "Hey, can I have the day off because I have to do some personal," like it just
yeah.
doesn't feel good.
We get one life. Like we don't want to do things every single day that we're like, no, not okay. Like blah blah blah.
Yes.
Like you don't want to have that blah ucky feeling of doing things. So yeah, I've always felt like I was kind of more in that leadership role or I was more of a leader type person. So I think I've heard more and more lately just this concept of being a follower versus a leader. And the fact that people are talking about it, I feel like it's natural for me. And I understand it's not for everyone. But I think my advice would be for like pushing yourself to be more in that leadership role. There's a really good book. It's a John Maxwell book, 5 Levels of Leadership. And it was probably one of my favorite books to read because it talks about the different ways you can lead and that there's kind of the good ways and the bad ways. Because being a leader isn't like there can be bad leaders. So
Yes.
my advice is to lead and not follow, but
Definitely need.
also to understand leadership and the different methods and ways of being a leader.
Nice. What would you say your greatest lesson from failure has been?
Oh boy, greatest lesson from failure. Whoo. So I would say, so this is going to go to personal life. So my son is actually an adopted embryo, and that's its whole own story. So genetically, he is not related to myself or my husband. So we went through a lot of years of infertility. It was about 8 years total. And I saw while I was in that season, I really, really struggled. I was depressed. I was anxious. I was just, life was really, really hard during then. Um, but now I kind of see it a little bit differently. Not that that makes it easier, but I see it differently because essentially I feel like I learned so much in that season and I grew so much. So through these hard seasons in life, we can kind of we can take that step back and really look at them and say, okay, what was it trying to teach me? I think if we come at it with a different perspective, instead of saying, well, that sucked and it was terrible and all these negative things, it's okay, what was it trying to teach me? That doesn't discredit the fact that it was hard, but what was it trying to teach me? And when I look back, I see things like I learned to communicate better. I was able to say to my husband how I was feeling and thinking, the things that were bothering me. I also really learned to advocate for myself in that season. It was very health related, but I think that that's really translated into now me still advocating for myself in not just the health industry, but just kind of anywhere in life. It really made me understand more about self-care and understanding that I needed to kind of take time for myself. And if something wasn't sitting well with me, whether it was like my gut was telling me not to do something, then I don't do it now. I'm like, no, I'm going to do what's best for me, my family, and that's it. So I've really learned to take care of myself in different ways through that season teaching me those things. And I would just really encourage other people to reflect on those bad, hard seasons and say, what did this teach me? And what can I take from it to grow as a person?
I love that. I'm so very proud of you, Kelly, because I get to talk to a lot of people. I hear all kind of stuff. When I say I was thinking about this the other day, like I really talk to, like, compared to other people, like I'm talking to a lot of people, like, and a lot of times women go through certain situations and they're hard. But instead of like finding the blessing or finding, okay, what is this teaching me? Or what am I supposed to do in this? They sit in it and they just complain about it the whole time. And it's like, no, girl, get up. Like you gotta, most times, because when we get in certain situations, it just means, for me, it just means pivot. Like it just means life is changing right now. And this is what comes with it. But I'm so very proud of you. What would you like to, how do I phrase this question? Because I want to ask you this. For someone being around you, anyone being around you, what would you like them to gain from you?
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's a great one. I've always felt like I'm starting to like the word quirky more. I used to think quirky was bad, but I have a certain type of energy. Like I'm a little bit quirky, I'm silly, I'm smiley, I'm fun, I'm bubbly. And I feel like when people are around me, they feel that. And usually that energy is so transferable in the sense of it makes other people feel good. So I really hope when people spend time with me, whether it be virtually like this, hearing my voice, seeing me, feeling that energy, they're really able to take that and it allows them to have a good day. Because I feel like our lives now are just so dang busy. And I feel like we go to the negative so easily. Like we forget to focus on the positive. And I actually talked to my husband about this a lot because being on a farm, unfortunately, the saying is if you have livestock, you have dead stock. So there are things that happen that are kind of out of our control. And I feel like as humans, we go to the bad things. It's, oh, this happened or this calf is sick, for example, with farm related stuff. But then I tell him, but what about when you did this and you fixed that? Or what about when you caught this and that didn't happen? So it's focusing on those good things. And I hope that, yeah, my energy allows people to kind of take the excitement that I feel on a day to day and really be able to translate that into their lives and be able to see the good in every single day by not being on autopilot because we live on autopilot and just go, go,
We
go.
really do. Yes.
Oh, it's sad.
What would you say motivates you when you have those days where you're just like, ugh, what keeps you going? What pushes you?
An energy drink? No, just kidding. That is a hard one because I feel like as humans, we shut down so easily. We let our mind tell our bodies that we're not able to kind of keep going. So I really try hard to work on my mental state, I would say. Like, for example, if I'm anxious about something, not only do I do like I breathe and I try to focus on breathing, but I also mentally work on like, it's okay, you're going to be okay. This isn't going to hurt you. This is going to be fine. So I would say through those moments, yeah, I'd work a lot on kind of my mindset and the way my body is feeling, because if anything makes us anxious, we tense up, and that's probably the worst possible thing. So
I agree. What would you say that you are absolutely unbeatable at? If you can name one thing.
unbeatable at. Oh boy,
Unbeatable, like I'm it. This is me all the way.
girl. Well, I would have to go back to business for sure on that. It's so interesting. I always felt that I was a more emotional person than a logical person, but now in business, I feel like I am, I would say, predominantly logical. And why that would be is because
Nice.
systems, the processes, the automations, like I get so creepily excited with that type of stuff, because it's like there are so many cool strategy things we can do. So I would say I'm unbeatable in the field of automations and strategy, and how you can create things that ultimately make your life easier. Again, we focus with our platform, we do focus on direct sellers. That's not our only clientele, but that's kind of the people we speak to the most. And I'm very good at helping them find ways through automations to save them time. So essentially not to have to do as much follow-up or nurturing, but also just to make things more effective for their clients. So clients, customers, or team members, prospects, whatever that be. So I would say, yeah, I'm unbeatable in the systems and processes and strategy space.
I love that. So I am currently in the process of, I guess, redoing my system. So I just recently joined MailChimp for
Mhm.
like all my newsletters and stuff, because I'm just now starting to get into all this stuff. I have a load of list of emails, and I guess I just needed time to like, I'm going to check you guys out, because what I don't like about MailChimp, so if I have a question or if I have an issue, do you guys have, can I call you guys or no?
Yes, you can. Yeah, we do bi-weekly webinars. We actually do guest speakers as well. And the fact that you just brought up email marketing, we just had a guest speaker she would have been in May. I think she was in May, who talked about email marketing. And you want to know what she talked to us about is the simplicity of email marketing. Because when I think email marketing, I'm like, you got to have a header, and it's got to be pretty, and it's got to have a beautiful signature, and it's got to be written beautifully. And then I'm like, I don't got time to do that. So then I don't do it. And that's
It
not,
don't get done. Yeah.
that's not good.
That goes against the get it done policy.
Exactly. My brain was like, wait a minute. So what she taught on is the fact, so our guest speakers are available to everybody and anybody. Our network, anybody who wants to come to them can come to them. So she spoke to some of our users, but there were also people just that needed to learn about email marketing. Regardless, she talked about simplicity. Like, don't worry about having images in it, and keeping it just simple and fun and light, and making it conversational, and asking questions so people will respond to you, because the more that people interact with our emails, the more that essentially they hit people's inboxes, people are going to open them. We want to make them interactive. So it was such a great training, because now guess what I'm doing? I'm sending emails, because now I'm not overthinking it and being like, well, I got to figure out how to make it beautiful and pretty and nice. I'm like, no, I just got to get it done. I just got to go and I got
Yes.
to write the email and send it. And you want to know what? These emails that I'm now sending, this is the most I've ever had people respond back to me, because I'm taking what that guest speaker taught us and I'm implementing it, and I'm seeing the results. So I'm loving
Yeah,
it.
because they're like, get to the point. They just want the information.
Yep. We
um,
scroll, we get emails, and we're like, what's this talking about? Like, and we don't, so we
yeah,
need to really capture people's attention right away.
I agree. Um, so the point of the podcast is to hopefully inspire someone that is just scared to start the business. I don't know, grow the business, whatever it is that they're scared to do. Um, is there any advice that you would give to him or her that is just scared to get up and start it?
100%. to me, I don't even have to think hard on that, because I feel like the most common one that comes to mind there is not worrying about what other people think. And I think that's so common. We start a business or want to start a business and we're like, well, what will my friends think? What will my dad think? What will my brother think? Who cares? Are those people paying your dang bills? If they are, good for you. But I'm going to say they're probably not. They're probably not. And honestly, I feel like a lot of the times when people kind of question our decision to start business, it's because they don't understand. So our job is really to educate them on what we're doing, why we're doing it. But I guess not spending too much time focused on just making sure that they believe and trust in what we're doing. But I do find that because of the way that we now use social media to do our sales for a lot of people, not everybody, but we do use social media a lot for that. I find that the most supportive people that I'm finding in business are my online friends, like people that I meet through social media. And it's not because my audience doesn't believe me, trust me, whatever that is, but I feel like our direct people are sometimes a little bit more hesitant, our direct networks. But I would say to someone starting business, don't focus on that. Like just go into it, set your heart on it, dedicate yourself, be consistent, and don't allow those bumps along the way to slow you down. Allow them to really like push you forward. There's a meme, and it's one of the most powerful memes I've ever seen in my life. And it is where, and I'm sure you've probably seen it. Anybody listening back has seen it, but it's where a man is underground and he has like, I don't know what the tool is, but he's like kind of hacking away at the wall and he's trying to find gold. And the picture shows him being like a hair away from the gold, but he turns around and he goes back the other way.
And it's like I'm over this.
Yes. But that's typically what happens is we're like right on the cusp of that momentum, but we give up. So don't give up, be consistent. Don't care what people think. I know that's more than one piece of advice, but just do the dang thing and get it done. We're going back to that.
Get it done. Get it done. Simply put. Yeah. I love that. Thank you so very much, Kelly. Is there anything that you'd like to share that we didn't go over, that we didn't discuss? Any questions? Anything?
No, I think this was so good. And I think the questions that you ask give the audience of people listening back such good perspective from other people, because I think a lot of the times like we get kind of, especially because we can work remotely, we can work from home, but we get in this space of feeling alone, like the things that we're going through, it's just us, and that we can't voice those things. So the questions that you asked were so good. I'm actually getting chills right now thinking about it because they were so going on, and they're what other people kind of need support through and need to hear what other people's experiences have been. So now I feel like you hit everything I would have ever wanted to talk about and more. So,
thank you. The goal is to highlight the business, of course, talk about business aspects, but I think a lot of times people forget that behind the business, behind all the stuff, the work, like we're still humans. We still have feelings and lives and, you know, all these things intertwine into the business as well. Just like you're a mom and you have a baby on one hand and a computer on another hand. So it's like, but we figure it out, and it just it comes with the territory. So,
and it gets more natural as time goes. So we need to stick with things, be consistent in them, and things do get easier in business as we get those routines and rhythms figured out, as well as the fact that our system has automations. That's what's really saved me, because like my husband is a farmer, so I have to go outside and help, well, cattle rancher, but I have to go outside and help him do things sometimes. So I've really needed to delegate, and I'm air quoting because delegation can also be to automations, and that's been a game changer.
Nice. I love that. Well, I will be looking into you guys' system. I'm super excited about all the changes that I have going on. But it is for sure work, and the beginning of a thing is very eye-opening. That's what I would say.
I feel like there's so many words going through my head right now. I gotta pick a friendly one.
Yes.
But it's so worth it to work for yourself, to be self-employed. It has its challenges, but dang, is it worth it? Like it
really is.
I can go work on a beach anywhere I want now. And yes, I could do that as a remote worker, but the problem was like when I worked for someone else that I had to work so many hours a week. So yes, I could sit on the beach for 8 hours, but I had to work for those 8 hours. Now I can delegate to my team that I have, but I can be like, I'm just going to work 2 hours today. Like,
Yeah.
I
Or I
have
can check in every few hours and see what's going on, and I can go back to what it is I want to do.
100%, and I couldn't ask for anything better than that.
I love that. I love that for you and your family.
Thank you. I
You are
appreciate
so
that.
very welcome. Thank you for coming, and you will hear from me soon. Once everything is all done, I'll be texting you the links to today's episode.
Sounds amazing. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you, Kelly. Have a good day.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Bye. Episode 55. So I am still having fun talking to all these business owners with all these beautiful creative ideas. Like, people are really out here getting to it, and not only am I having fun, I'm also inspired. Like, any mom that is in business, I am extremely inspired by her, because how? And then if you're a mom and a wife, so you have to do wifely duties plus take care of the baby and run the business. But I'm super inspired by the mothers. I'm super inspired by all business owners, really. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be in a space to be able to not only do what I'm doing, but to talk to you guys, to learn about you guys, to share you guys. If you are a business owner and you would like to share your business, I would love to talk to you. Hit me up on whatever platform you are watching or hearing this on, or you can text me 310-908-0468 and we can get you scheduled. Don't forget to thank God for your blessings. Don't forget to say your prayers. Don't forget to take care of your crusty skin. I will see you guys. I don't remember. I know I have a crazy schedule today, but have a good day. Bye.